Welcome to Stories with Brisco and Bradshaw. I would be Bradshaw. That would be the WWE Hall of Famer, Oklahoma's favorite son, Mr. Gerald Brisco. And we have got a treat today, one I have been looking forward to for so long. He's one of the greatest icons in this business. He's one of the greatest workers in this business. And he became one of the greatest trainers in this business. 1996. I just got in WWE. I got to go to the Hall of Fame and watch him get inducted by none other than the Golden Boy, Arnie Scollin. It is a treat to welcome Mr. Johnny Rodz. Johnny, welcome to the show.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. And I'm getting good sniffles a little bit. So, whatever happens, save me a little bit. All right.
Well, Johnny, I mean, it's a pleasure having you. We were talking pre-show here. You and I go way, 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 way back when black and white was popular on TV there. But it's such a pleasure to have you on and see you. It's been years since we talked. It's been too many years, but we've had so many guys on our podcast, and your name has come up probably more than any other name on the history of our podcast, more than Bruno Sammartino, more than John Cena, more than The Rock. Your name has popped up. Of course, we have guys that you train on there. So not only did you do a fantastic job of training them in the ring, but you did a good job of training them outside the ring and giving them life skills. And that's one of the reasons we wanted you on. We did all this research, found all these people that you trained, Johnny, but we never found out who trained you and what was your steps of getting into business.
Boy, talking about being a long time. I don't know. Let me put my mind together. Look, I was born in the hills in Puerto Rico, okay? Way up in the hills on the west side of Puerto Rico, and way up where you got no light, we got no electric, no gas, no nothing. Just a regular, like the way the natives live, because that's what my father and my mother come from. And I didn't get to go. I didn't get to go to school until I was 12 years old. And traveling from the island to New York at 11 and a half with short pants, shirt, short sleeve, and a sweater. And you know what happens when you come in here in the winter and you're scared at that age, and you're going to have wet pants, right? Well, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to just listen for a second. They picked us up from over there. My aunt picked us up because she married some guy over here from the Little Italy, and she had a lot of money, and she brought her whole family down. And then let me explain something. You come here from the hills. I never been to school. When I went to school in Puerto Rico, I was there for, not even a month. And all you learn, 1 y 2 son 4, 4 y 2 son 6, 6 y 2 son 8, y 8 16. That means you count only to 16 by singing, and then the ABC. I never got to do ABC, especially in Spanish. So I'm here by the time we get ready to have our own place, and my father gets to settle and all that crazy stuff. I'm 12 years old. And they put me in now, they're going to put you in school. They put me in the 4th grade when I'm 12 years old. So at 12 years old, with a little notebook sitting in the back of the room, I don't even know what the heck is going on.
And you speak English? Do you have any English skills at that time?
No English at all. How can I? Nothing. I never know what the heck English is. So I'm sitting in the back of the room, and all these kids. 90% of the kids in the class are Puerto Ricans. We have 1 Jewish kid, 2 black kids, and the rest Puerto Ricans, okay? Now, they're all going to look at you, and you're not to put a dot. Otherwise, they're going to be, I'm in for it. The only thing is, I'm in for it, but they don't know that you get a hillbilly, and you bug a hillbilly, that hillbilly is going to get mad. So I sit there. I had one kid that was Irish, and that kid's name was Johnny McMillan. And Johnny McMillan, it was a fireball. Curly hair, red, the freckle face, little guy. Well, what a monster he was. But because he hanging out with the Puerto Rican, he spoke a little bit in Spanish. Somehow, because he was the Rumbo and Dumbo, he has some friends, he has some enemies. But then he didn't like the idea of these guys picking at me, so he became my buddy, and he's trying to teach me English. Now you guys get ready. Uh, like I said, I want to learn. So we go, uh, uh, Johnny, headache, pain, stomach, pain. Okay, Johnny, stomach pain, headache, pain. He go back and forth with the hand, telling me he's got pain in the head, pain in the stomach. That's pain. So okay, no problem. But now, maybe a week later, 2 weeks later, I don't know. I'm late. I'm almost a half an hour late. And the teacher was a tall lady, over 6 feet tall. Nice teacher. I walk in practically a half an hour late because it was hard for me to get to school early. We walk in, she goes, "Good morning, Juanito," with that kind of tone. And I said, "Oh boy." I go, "Teacher, me headache, pain, stomach pain." So she said, "Well, you got stomach pain and your head pain?" And now you know what happens when you're that dumb, and then everybody's laughing at you, right? That wasn't too nice, right? Now I walk from the front to the back, and I look all around, and I tell you, this is what we are, a little Billy from the hill. You're gonna get hit when I get out of school tonight. When I get tonight, I don't know how many of you, but I'm gonna get it because you're gonna get it. I go outside, and that's my first rumble.
That's your first rumble.
So you see, that's the beginning of my life.
You can't trust those Irish guys at all.
This is the beginning of my life, from the hills of Puerto Rico to the concrete jungle. So I always say to the people, I'm from the hills of Puerto Rico, racing the hills of Puerto Rico, and racing the concrete jungle here in New York. Well, welcome to Johnny Rodz world.
Johnny, how did you, when you were living up in the hills? You said no electricity, so you weren't getting TV or anything at that time. When's the first time you saw TV? When's the first time you saw TV wrestling?
Amigo, it's a wonderful world. You know what? It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful world. I used to lay in the hills in the evening, probably 7:30, 8 o'clock, when it's really, really dark, and look up in the sky and look at how beautiful it is to see the atmosphere from the hill when it's a nice, clear night with all the stars. I'm never going to forget that. The thing is, coming to New York with no education of a kid, but in Puerto Rico, we live in the hills. There was no gas, no electricity, no running water. I had to go pick up water. I say maybe close to a half a mile in between, down the hill, up the hill, into the. I'll tell you what. To say it all, my father was the last chief of the hills. Once his father died, he was the chief. He's the chief. I'm the oldest. I'm the chief. They got 60 acres of hills. And I mean 60 acres of hills. If they give them to you now, you say you could keep it, because what are you going to do with it? You understand? But that's where the Indians live. That's what everything that ran away from the low part. In the beginning, they all went up there where the Europeans went with them. The blacks, the Africans went together. So now you got Puerto Rico, the Indians, the blacks, and the Europeans. That's the mixture between all the three. That's what a Puerto Rican is. But most of them that had nothing, they were not rich, they live in the hills. And everybody went to the hills because that was protection at the time. So I come from that area. I'm very proud to say I'm a hillbilly from the hills of Puerto Rico and raised in the country jungle downtown here in Little Italy. And I
know you're a hillbilly. I've been around you too long. You always had that hillbilly attitude, just like I do, just like John does. He's a hillbilly from Texas. But when is the first time that you actually saw a TV set? Was this when you got to New York?
When the first TV, my father bought, I went with him. It was Dumont. It was a round base, not square, nothing. It was round. And it was a Dumont. and you get those antennas with the 2 ears long.
Rabbit
and-
ears.
Yeah, and once we got it, and that's when that's when I want to say it in English. That's when the shit started because my mother. That's when my mother used it more and more for her side of the land, because she said, if you don't do this, if you don't do that, you don't watch TV tonight. So we want to see TV. It's a brand new thing. It's and then the most things that we got stuck with it. She loved boxing, then she loved the wrestling. The wrestling was number one for my mother, and she will. You got to stay away from her because when she's sitting there,
Who was her
and
favorite wrestler?
and Skull Murphy and Graham Brothers, Antonino Rocca, Miguel Perez, Ricky Starr, you name it, all those guys get into the Madison Square Garden and the old garden, and my mother is there. Forget it. You better get away from her because she hates those hills. She hates the villains, And believe me, I have to go shine shoe, make sure that I make enough money. $2.50. We got ringside on Madison Square Garden. And that's when I was 14 years old, because before that, they won't let you in until you're 14. That's how far I go back to and then my first deal in Madison Square Garden was, I don't know, the old garden. And I went in there, and Arnold Skolin says, bring your bag if you want to get started, because I bug him a little bit. And I'm going to tell you a little later, a little joke about how I got started coming down to him. And I got the first match, Bruno Sammartino. They needed somebody from Pittsburgh, substitute. And Bruno had a state trooper friend of his, young guy, about 6'3", 6'4", 300 pounds. And he too local in Pittsburgh. So Bruno brought him down to the garden. It's a favor. They put him with me for the fourth time. And they put me over. They put me over. When I walked downtown to Lower East Side Manhattan, and all my boys, they weren't together, and my friends, and they asked me, Johnny, how it was. My chest was up high, my hands was out there, my ears were touching both sides of the street. That's how glory I was.
Wow.
That's my first, and we're going back to the old garden.
Yeah.
I think it must have been 1963. I think
So
that's the night that Sammartino took the belt away from Buddy Rogers.
Wow, you were there.
Wow, you were there.
I was there that night. Yes, it was 62nd. You know the story.
Yeah. Fill us in a little bit. People that don't know, fill us in a little bit on that. But Rogers, of course, didn't want to drop the belt, right?
Well, that was in the private room. I heard some noise because
you heard some noise.
Yeah, I heard some noise, and it was a little noise going on. At that time, I was a real kayfabe. I have no idea. Who cares? My glory time is that I'm sitting in there.
Johnny, I want to interrupt here. Take us back to those days. Take us back to those dressing rooms, because now they have these big spacious dressing rooms. What was the dressing rooms like, and how was kayfabe back in those days in New York?
The dressing room in those days is no different than the wrestling all the way up to not too long ago, close to the 80s. They were the real McCoys. I only know one drawing artist. As an artist I'm going to bring it together. The Lewin brothers. You know the Lewin brothers, right? Mark, Ted, and Don.
Don.
Yeah, there's three of them. Mark, Ted, and Don and Mark were the tag teams, the best. Teddy was the one that did a little bit, but not all over the place. He's one of the best artists that I know. He was even awarded or tagged by the president, him and his wife. They travel all over the world doing drawings, and they did books for the kids and everything. I wrestled him a couple of times here in Brooklyn, way back. He passed away maybe 3 years ago. uh, the dressing room in those days, it was the real McCoy in the sense of everybody lays around, who reads the book, who reads the newspaper, who wants to play that crazy game that they play, cards, and it was nice and quiet. But there's always a knucklehead, and it's always a problem about somebody jealousy or somebody this or somebody that. And no different than like I said, up to the few years back.
No different what it is today, then, right?
Yeah,
There was
but today,
always that jealousy, all that jealousy,
yeah,
and all
but
that stuff.
today you got you go to the garden, the new garden, not the old garden, and you got stars in the door. So there's only a couple invitations. The rest all probably belong in one room. Our days, we're all together. First of all, you walk in the dressing room. The first thing you're looking is for a good corner where you put your shit in a chair. And if it's not too many, you steal it right away, and that's it. You got it. You take whatever it is. There's so much story, so much stuff going on that you'll never finish. You can start now and finish and never finish. The days of the old days are the most beautiful. I can never say. I thank God that I started this thing. I'm never sorry for being in the business. I wanted it. I did it, and I could never finish. I could never finish with storylines and feelings and stuff and suffering, all kinds of stuff. And
Johnny,
it's all
who trained you, Johnny, to
well.
get that far?
When I was 13, 14, and 15, I lived in well, like I said, downtown in New York, and there was a Puerto Rican. The super's son was already 17, 18 years old. The corner store, the grocery store, he used to get on those triple wheel bikes, like where they got the big can in the front and then two wheels in the front and one in the back, and you wheel it around and then you deliver groceries. Well, that was the super son, the one that got my father into the construction business in the beginning. I helped him a little bit to do the groceries around the neighborhood. And for some reason, I don't know how he got involved with that. Don't forget, we're very, very close to Chinatown, downtown. So somehow he got friendly with some uh, jitsu professional, jitsu master. When I say jitsu, it's jujitsu. So now everybody says jujitsu. You know what kind of jujitsu? Gracie jujitsu. You know the story about the father with the Gracie jujitsu. He went to Japan. He knows Gracie jujitsu. He beat everybody, so he created Gracie. That's tie everybody down, tie and choke, and that's Gracie jujitsu. The real jujitsu is Chinese, and that's jitsu. And that thing is, how do you say, it's not, you can't teach it. It's only pinpoint. You point everything and you practice. You point everything, you practice. Even if you're going to get his in the bees all, you have to point to practice. You don't hit. Once you're a master of that, you're dangerous. You understand? So he knew quite a bit of that, and he used to use me in the backyard of the building, the floor, like a rubber ball, because he used me for the body to practice. And somebody uses you, you kind of learn also about it, even though they're not teaching you, but you're learning the points about what the heck is it that he's doing. And I learned a little bit of that. Then I wanted to do boxing, and I got it to where I was 14 years old. I was downtown in the Lower East Side on East Broadway, way up in the roof where the Golden Gloves for the Daily News was, with E.C. Sealand, who's the guy that was in charge. He lasted 101 years. He had a G&S Sporting Goods stores, and he was in charge of all the kids from, I don't know, from 12, 13, 14, they do the Golden Gloves with the Daily News. And I used to climb up up the gym, and I stay there, and I just watch these guys bounce around. And I did a little bit in the street and around in the club, but I never was involved because my mother did not want me to. Because if my mother catch me, I get a beating. But I'll tell you real quick, I was sitting in the upstairs in the gym. There's nobody around to help this kid. Is already in the Golden Glove. A tall black kid with long arm. And every time I watch him, he's out there jobbing and pumping, jobbing and pumping. I said, damn, everybody gets hit, and all they have to do is duck under and fucking uppercut, and then you could put this guy out. But it's none of my business. I'm just watching. But one day I go in there. They don't have nobody to practice with him. He's got some things coming. And they say, Johnny, maybe you go in there. You know a little bit. Come on, help us out. All right, they put the gloves on me and the ceilings in the office, and they put the gloves on me. I was scared because I thought maybe, this guy's going to make a fool out of me. But I watched him so much that I said, I can knock this bastard out. I went in there no more than a half a minute, jumping around or a minute. I ducked real good, everything he did. One time I catch and I hit him right on the, not only he bit his tongue, but he was out for 5 minutes. Okay, but let me finish this, the high spot. Remember what I told you? My mother doesn't like me to box. So I will not box. I loved it, but I don't want to do it. She liked boxing. She watched boxing. They gave me a piece of paper that opens up to flat as both sides of the head, and in the front it has the boxing gloves, for the daily news, the signal. So you're supposed to fill it up. Your mother's supposed to, your father's supposed to fill it up. They sign. They give you a permit so that you can get into the club. He gives it to me because he wants me wants to train me. He wants to, now he likes me. I said, okay, I got it. I don't want to be ashamed that they give it to me. I want to say, no. I put it in the back pocket, and I went home, and I took my pants off. I hang it on the nail. I went to the bathroom with a comic book, and I'm sitting there, minding my own business. My mother sees the pants. She sees the page, and she sees the gloves. She takes the page. She walks out of the door, goes one flight up to her friend because she can't read. She only sees that, and she says to her friend upstairs, "¿Qué esto?" She says, "Está boxeando. He's boxing." Oh, really? So she comes down. I come out of the bathroom. Guess what? I got a black eye. Okay, I got a big black eye. So
Mom
I said,
gives you a black eye.
boxing is not for me. I did a little bit, quite a bit after that. I love boxing. I love boxing today. But then I went to the settlement house. I went to the boys club. I went to the YMCA. I see everybody wrestling. They're strong stuff, and everybody's trying to do something. I loved it. I play a little bit, Scrabble a little bit here and there. I think sometimes you learn more how to shizu with that than you learn somebody teaching you how to shoot because, you're trying to defend yourself.
Right.
So that's how I got around to loving the game. And then because of the wrestling so much, there was the local club with the boys in the neighborhood. We got together. It's a real club, not a wrestling school, where everybody pays for the rent. Everybody cleans up. Everybody does this, and they make a 14 by 14 ring. You hit the elbows on the wall and that shit. And we play every week. We have a little show, and the neighborhood pays $1 or $2, and they walk in. And that's how I started. That's how I started doing wrestling. And then the funny thing about it, everybody is a shooter because nobody knows how to work. So, and then, but then when I got older and older, looking at the age of 17, 18, I was already involved with the here and there, I got lucky to meet, first, I joined the Rockabilly fan club on 25th Street, and it was all calisthenic with a gentleman named Barbaroja. Barbaroja was a European from Spain who was friends with Carl Gotch and Frank Martinez. They were all together with Victor Rivera, Pedro Morales, Frank Martinez, Tomas Marin. I don't know if you know those names. Those guys are all from downtown. Uh, uh, what happens there is that I joined them and I started really involved with the calisthenics, the blah blah blah, the baloney about this and that, and now I'm getting started really very interested that I want to get in it. You know, by the time I was 18 years old, I was already in it, and at that time, 18, 19 or so and so, you know, the Carl Gotch was tag team champion in New York with the Rene Goulet, right?
Yeah.
You know that stuff, right?
Yes.
So he was around. Him and Frank Martinez and Baba Roja, they were all friends because Baba Roja's European. I think I guess they're friends from way back. They went to a gym in Brooklyn with it's called Mr. Puerto Rico Gym. It's a dinky place where we only get an hour from 6 to 7. We're supposed to practice wrestling. You know, listen, watch me. We're supposed to practice wrestling. I never did so much calisthenics with Carl Gotch. He oh God.
That was Carl saying was the calisthenics, wasn't it?
Let me tell you,
he would wear you out so bad with those calisthenics.
My shoulders, if I'm doing these things like this with the arm and up and down, we're up there, and I wonder where we're going to put their arms down. We're falling apart. And then it's not too many of us. There's only a few boys. I'm not going to forget Gypsy Joe, okay? He was there with us. We spent 1 hour of torture to get together for anything else. One day was 1 hour of calisthenics. The next day was 1 hour in a rough white canvas doing a floor mat about get a front face. If you could get out, the guy in the bottom could get out, then he could reverse it. Well, every time I used to get somebody, I make sure that I hold as much as I could, so this way I don't get to be strangled. You know what happens then? That's a good way to train somebody because then you know I don't want to let go. I don't know. That's the way we used to do it for 1 hour only. Monday and Tuesday, 1 hour only. That was in Brooklyn way back in those days when he was here.
Johnny, you always had a nice body on you. Were you hitting the weights at that time, and how much did you weigh?
I did quite a bit of deadlift, private by myself, with somebody that was already not, I would say, semi-pro, but professional, kind of pro guy doing deadlift in the building where I lived in the basement, and he got kicked out, and I wind up with all the weights, and that's how I hang out with him. I did a lot of deadlifts and the right way, nothing stupid. I was only 5'10" and 220 pounds, 225 pounds when I really started. But when you're nice and tendon and you're nice and hanging around with Frank Martinez and Carl Gotch, those guys of those days, and Tomas Marin. Remember Gypsy Joe? He not died.
Gypsy Joe Rosario, yeah.
Yeah, well, him and I were the first private tag team that I ever had. I never had a tougher guy. Man, he's same size as me. That guy, you hit him with a chair. He says, "You better hit better than that because my mama and my grandmother hits better than that." That's Gypsy way of that. Beautiful person. Him and I were the first. That was my first tag local. How local? There's a show in Brooklyn on Saturday. He says to the owner, "We work on the second match. I want $100 and a bottle of Bacardi." Now, $100, a lot of money in those days, but because we drew, so he get it, I get it, and then we cross over the Holland Tunnel. As soon as we cross over, we make a left, and there's another club there, and we work there. The last match on the main event, $100 and a bottle of Bacardi.
Wow.
That's the only way we work.
What years is this, Johnny? What
Oh
about,
my God, Papa! It's way back in the beginning. That's when I was there, and Kevin Sellerman showed up. I guess on his way to South because he stopped there for about a month, and I think he got to train with us a little bit, but then he disappeared. That's way back.
this
Papa.
is probably the late '60s, maybe even early
Yeah,
'70s.
well, yeah. I tell you, it's when Carl Gotch was around, and that's very early. And then Steve Stanley was around, all the old boys. And then look, I stuck with it. I loved it. I wanted to get in. I kept going to the Holland Hotel at that age, early, and knocking at opened up first one flight up on the Holland Hotel between the 8th and 9th.
That's where the wrestling office was.
Well,
correct?
no, that was Arnold's Colon private office.
Oh, it's Arnold's office.
Okay, the real office, and I'll tell you that one, you're going to get it. It was on 54th Street, 8th Avenue, or 7th Avenue, somewhere around there. That was the original old office, the old building. The lights are dark inside.
That's so you can't see the numbers on the money when you
Yes.
see it.
I'm going to tell you a little bit. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that one. But here's what happened. I kept going, knocking on the Scotland's Holland Hotel. You know the Holland Hotel. And I go in there and I knock, and he says, "Okay, ¿qué pasa?" And I said, I like to get a little, I'm going to get started, blah, blah, blah. All right. He says, leave the number or blah, blah, blah. I'll call you if I got something. I go. I come back the second time, maybe a month later, same baloney. And, I said to myself, wow, I'm not going to leave him alone because, oh, man, I guess I'm a knucklehead. But then the real time, I go down 54th Street because he wasn't on 42nd Street. I did the 42nd, and I jumped and I walked all the way 54th Street. So what happens is I knock on the door and somebody says, the door is open, come on in. Okay. I walk in, Bobo Brazil was there. I'm trying to remember one guy that was there that time. Every time I tried, those days there was four guys there. But Bobo Brazil is one of the guys that I remember that he was right there, and they're all playing cards with Arnold Scollin. They're playing poker. All right, they're playing poker. Now I walk in, and Mr. Scollin, Johnny, okay, 1 second, okay, come on in, no, 1 second, okay, come on in, 1 second. And one guy says, I'll see you 4, and I'm going to race you 4 more. And the other guy, everybody go around. Now Scollin still didn't go. So I'm waiting for him to finish that. So this way I could tell him that I'm embarrassed because they're playing cards, and here I am bugging him in the middle, and he's playing cards. So he goes, well, what was that last bet over there? And he looks around and he goes, well, what was your last bet over there? Well, he bet, and I bet 4, and he bet 4, and then you're the last bet. What the fuck? You know him, what the fuck? And he kept faving over there with the card. God, you guys, I don't know, you bet. All right, I see you 4, and I bet you 4 more. You got it?
Yeah.
So now, I said to myself, okay, so he finished, he got it, and then he's got the bet. He won that. And he goes, okay, you got a number? I said, yeah, I'll give you my aunt number, the telephone number. And that's the only number I got because we have no phone in the house. And so he got it. He said, I got something, I'll give you a buzz. I left. Probably 2 weeks later, we're in Comac Long. They're on Comac Long Island, and I guess he needed one. And he calls the number of my aunt's house, and my aunt. I went over there to babysit her babies, the 2 babies that they had, and I helped her out. So she was a nice aunt. And then I'm coming in. She's walking out. She said, "Señora Scollin called." I said, Scollin, what the heck are you talking about? like Scalan.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, sheesh, it's Arnold Scalan. And then I got the phone. I call up, ring, ring, ring 3 times. I said, shit. At the third time, click, he picked up, and I said, hello. I said, Mr. Scalan, this is Johnny Yalala. He goes, yes, listen. I need you. Can you make it up to Comac, Long Island this Saturday? Yeah, oh, sure. Okay, be there at 6 o'clock. By 5:30, I was in the parking lot. He comes in close to that. I went into the dressing room. What the heck is this guy? An Irish guy that was there, and now I forget his freaking name. That was the first match. 15 minutes. I worked with this guy, and nice Irish boy. And 15 minutes, blah, 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 the sunset flip, we went home. We come back to the dressing room, and he hugs me, and he says, fantastic, I love you. It was great. And he goes, gee, how long did you work? I said, this is my first match. First match?
Wow.
He goes, hey, Arnold, he's playing cards again. Hey, Arnold, this guy's not bad. You should book him. All right, okay. That was it.
That was it. Wow.
The next one that I get, it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, Sunnyside Garden. Now I'm Sunnyside Garden. Here I am again with Arnold Scalan and all of that. It was everybody's in there, and I'm on second. And he goes, Johnny, right? Johnny, what the heck is that? Johnny Rodriguez. He goes, the heck? How many Rodriguez? He had 2 more Rodriguez in there. A guy named Rodriguez, Gypsy Rodriguez. Some guy's local. He says, give me some other name. I said, oh, shit. And you got 5 minutes because you're on second.
I got 5 minutes. Come on.
So I go, shit. I get up there. I said, damn. I won Johnny, but what the heck? So I put down Johnny Rod, R-O-D. R-O-D doesn't sound too good. I was smart enough to think, Rod? Okay. Then I go, Roque and stuff like that. I brought maybe 2 or 3 times, and then I said, wait a minute, Rod. I said, if I abbreviate it, and I take the Z and put it down, period, Johnny Rodz. I go, hey, that sounds pretty fucking good. Then I go over there. I said, how about this, Johnny Rodz? He goes, Johnny Rodz. Okay, good enough. I said, not rats, Johnny Rodz. Okay, you're on second, okay? That's how I got the name Johnny Rodz.
Wow. Too many Rodriguez's.
What was that?
Too many Rodriguez's, so you just shorted.
Yeah, because what the heck? You want to get started, you better be quick, because that's the only way you're gonna get what you want. It's like winning the lottery. You either buy a ticket and win, or don't think about it.
Hey, Johnny, I want to ask you about that night in Madison Square Garden with Bruno and Buddy Rogers that you were there.
Because let me be honest. I was in one room, and they were in another room. That time we have Argentina Apollo, we had Ricky Starr, we have everybody in there. A big guy from Mexico. Everybody was a monster. I was the little monster. I hear an argument, but then they had there's no way I could tell you that I heard anything that I could explain what was going on. First of all,
did you notice and did you feel something was going on?
Well, put it this way. I was going to say I'm new. Actually, I'm so new that I'm in a corner. I respect the characters, and I don't even want to look up at them. I just want to be in there and start. And I hear some kind of a rumble, not rumble, but loud noise, but not much. All I knew that, I don't know, it was one of the workers, or Arnold, or the referee, or Vincent Self. I know that they walk out. There was tension. That's all I know. And then, because there was tension, I see too many characters coming out to watch what's going on from far away. And I guess me being nosy, I follow up too. And I saw it. There was no more than...
It was one of those nights when the curtain was full backstage.
Exactly. No more than 60 a minute and a half, and it was over. I have no, I cannot tell you I was smart enough to know what was going on. As far as I'm concerned, that was the match. It just happened. That's it. There was no secret. It just it happened, and the way it happened, I don't know if that was a shoot. I have no idea. Maybe it was. All I know, it happened no more than that quick, and was all over, and the rest is history.
Because I got a chance to interview Bruno before he died, and
Yes.
Bruno says it was a shoot. You know.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Oh
sorry,
yes.
Ray.
Oh, definitely was a shoot, because at that time I was such a mark, even though I was in it and I knew what. Actually, I put it this way: I'm not a shooter. I'm not a shooter. I believe in scientific learning. I teach it, and then I look at somebody boxing or wrestling, and I said, well, anyway, I watched MMA today, and I go, get that, hook that leg, hook that arm, and twist it the other way, you dummy. My wife says, they can't hear you. Okay, so that's me. Otherwise, I see somebody shooting, or somebody that says, what the fuck is he fighting from one side when he could get the other side? Well, that's the only scientific stuff I know. I work with a lot of guys. Look, I work with a lot of guys. I never wanted to shoot with nobody. I never wanted to. I just want to work. They gave me what they gave me. I never argue. Some guy probably don't like my skin color. Maybe don't like. I don't know. I have no idea. And wants to go behind me and make me look like a shithead. Well, I said, well, go ahead. Look, the only thing is, you might walk out like a raccoon. Otherwise, when I kick out, you better have your nose out of the way and your eyes out of the way, because I got two sides, left and right and front. So you know what a raccoon looks like. I did that a couple of times, and sometimes it was innocent. I didn't mean to do it. But I obeyed the order, and I spend my life in it, and I worked with the old man, and he always, I don't know, I was supposed to get a nice shot when I come back from Puerto Rico after I did that year and a half there as a super medic, and the old man died. That would have been my last shot, because he promised me. I want to be babyface, and I want to do a year and a half or a year, whatever it took, and then make a couple of dollars and scoop out. But he died. By the time Vince Jr. took over and I come back, everybody's new. The bookers new. Vince Jr. not interested in me getting any. He gave me work. I'd lucky if I get 3 shots a month. So I said, you know what? I'm better off doing independent. So I ran around doing independent. You know.
Johnny, when the match came, when Rogers and the guys came back from the ring, was there any commotion in the back, or was it just?
Actually, when they did that, there was a little, there was friction, but I was not. I stayed out in the hallway watching the rest of the matches, and I cannot say that I heard anything or know anything, because if I say it, I'm a liar. I was interested more in watching the rest of the matches, because I'm still a fucking green hornet, and watching the guys work. Okay, so I don't know what went on after that. All I know that I learned through the years later on, I learned after that it was more like it was a shoot. He wanted something and it didn't work, and then Bruno, I guess he just took. I'm a mark to that part. You know what I mean?
What were the boys afterwards? Because I guess the story was that Rogers didn't really want to drop the title to San Martino, so they kind of tricked him into coming in. Is kind of the story between Toots Mondt and Vince McMahon Sr. or one of the two. What were the boys saying afterwards? Like say 6 months later, a year later, did they say
it's always the same secret. It was always the same quietness, quiet, people being quiet about it, or not making it. It was too much. I guess too much respect in the fact of the real timers, that they say it is what it is and that's what it is, and they really don't want, unless it was a joke, they don't want to bring it out. You know what I mean?
yeah.
If I say I know about it, but I don't know about it because me was new, and I was a mark to the whole thing that's going on. To me, it was a work. So you see, if I say, "Oh yeah, I know this," I don't know nothing. All I know is that that was a friction that was there, and it lasts for who knows how many years later, you know. And they're funny, but then it goes on for years, and whether they got friction or not, or who what, it went on. Professionals keep on, whether they don't like each other or not. Isn't that the fact?
Right. How did you like working with, say, Vince Senior and Toots Mond? How was that dynamic back
Well,
then?
Tusman was an old promoter who I guess Vince they got really together because that's what he was in the garden. I guess Tusman must have been in the garden before. Who knows how long before Vince even partners with him? But they were partners, and then Vince was partners with him in New York. But then Vince was partner with Willie Gissenberg and the guy in Boston and the guy in Maryland and the guy in Pittsburgh. Every promoter in every big state town was partners with Vince, and Vince had the boys and the old Barrow, and everybody was he was partners with everybody in the sense of the talent.
And how did you end up in the Coliseum with Gene LaBelle? Because I'm a big fan,
Oh,
big fan of Gene LaBelle, who just passed away.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay, that's a beautiful one. Remember the Mongos,
Yeah.
Guido Mongo and Pepper
Guido,
Mongo?
right.
Okay, Tony, I think it's Tony, Guido. He came to New York. It was 200 and probably 40 pounds. Him and I traveled back and forth. He had no car, so if I had a car, he go with me and go with the other guy, go with this guy, go with Pete Sanchez, go with that guy, go with Manuel Soto. You know, we're traveling from the city, from the Holland Hotel up to whatever town. And one time we're coming from Washington, D.C., and there's a miserable weather. And him and I in the back, you know, what the fuck? You know, that shit. I got that. And he's arguing, and he's mad, and he's angry. I said, amigo, ¿qué pasa? And, fucking $25 and that shit here and shit there and shit. You know what? I'm gonna someday I'm gonna make money. I'm gonna go to get money and buy Bruno Sammartino territory. You know, the Bruno had. I say, I look at him and I go, yeah, I mean, I'm in for a while, so I'm pretty good at it. And I go, amigo, when you're the promoter in Pittsburgh, don't forget me. You and I, you know, with pals, you know, you're gonna give me a shot. He goes, you got it, Johnny. You know, but you know that now we're bullshitting, right? He went away, I guess, at least for 5 years. He went back to Canada, wherever they come from, at least for 5 years. When he comes back weighing about 260, 270, all bald-headed, with Pepper, with, you know, Guido and Pepper Mongo. They look like the best tag team you could ever seen out of a movie, with all those things and all that fur and all that. And they great tag team, great look. And Vince put them over. He made nothing but money. It's okay. So now he's gonna buy Pittsburgh. He's gonna buy Bruno Sammartino. I think it was. I heard it was 65,000. He bought the territory. So now I'm around, and I said, "Hey, Tony, remember what I told you?" He goes, "Yeah, you're gonna work." So I go to Pittsburgh, and he put me on TV, and he goes, "Damn it, Johnny! I want a gimmick. I don't want to use your Johnny Rodz. You came over here, Johnny Rodz. Fuck that." I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" He goes, "Well, I tell you what. How about you being an Arab or something?" I said, "An Arab?" Damn it. So now, okay, you know, I go along with anything that shoots. And then I said, "An Arab." So, but we're there. We were there, and then we're doing the big show. We're doing TV, then they're doing the big show. I don't know. But then what happens is, how do we come out? I got JR on the boots. What do I do? I don't have no gimmick, no headpiece or nothing. Well, you know the blankets on the bed, right, in the hotel. So I cut it in the middle because the one thing they taught me way back, when you travel, have needle and thread, a pair of scissors, everything that you could need in that bag for being a pro. So I had scissors, I had white thread, black thread, the red thread. I had it. So I cut the sheet right across, and then I cut it the other way across again. Now I got a square thing. I fold it in a triangle. I put it over the head. You know when you have the curtains on the theater, and they're red and they velveteen like, and then they hang there, right? Well, from one of the places before the TV, they had one of those curtains. I went in the backstage. I cut the bottom a little bit, no more than maybe 15 inches, maybe. I cut it nice and quiet, and then I took it. I saw it up. It was red, burgundy, whatever the heck it was. I made it. I put it around my head. I went, ooh, ooh. And he says, fantastic. And he says, well, what name are we going to use? I said, oh, shit. And now we got in trouble because I got JR on the boots. So the Hava candy, remember?
Now, JR in the booth, that's Vince Jr., right?
Yeah, JR is, JR is Johnny Rodz, right? So, but then how do I wrestle with these boots? JR, what kind of name can I use, you know? So I start thinking, damn it. I saw that nougat candy, Hava or Hana, whatever the heck it was years ago. It's a piece of candy. So I'm thinking that Johnny Hana, what the heck? That's no good. It's not at all. And I said, Jesus. And I said, Java. I'm thinking out of Java, Java and RUUK. Java Rook. So I put it on. I go, hey, Tony, Java Rook. That's good enough. Let's use it. Then they put me on TV, and I had I don't know, some kind of a workout with the Batman. His name was Tony, Italian fellow.
Tony Marino.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm too old now. I can forget. Yeah, Tony Marino, and he was Batman, and they had Robin. And I had like some kind of a scaffold with him. They didn't beat me. I had some scaffold with him where they had a reconcile the referee. And then I was Javaru. That's the beginning of Javaru. So I work in Pittsburgh on TV around the area as Javaru. Years passed and there was nothing. He got rid of the territory, I guess. I don't know. And then and I even went to Cleveland TV and used Javaru with them back and forth. So it passed the years, nothing happens with Jabaruk. One day, I'm in New York, we're going to do TV. We're in Reading, Pennsylvania, at the big hotel there. In the back, they have the crystal room in the back. I don't know if anybody been there. Jerry, never been there?
No.
The crystal room is the first floor in the back. It's only for the big people.
That's the reason I never
the middle guys don't get to go eat in the back. So we're all there. Look, I'm gonna be real rough, okay? On this one, we're there. My buddy, the cat Ernie Ladd, was around. And Ernie Ladd is a gentleman and a scholar. Jerry.
Yeah, I can testify that. He's a scholar and a gentleman.
Okay. So Ernie Ladd, Pete Sanchez, and a couple of guys, they like to do a little smeezoke, okay? So Ernie Ladd like
things haven't changed, Johnny.
Okay, you guys enjoy. Some of the guys do a little smeezoke. That's okay. I don't like it because it panics the hell out of me. I'm from downtown, I could get the best, but I don't need it. And somehow Ernie was dry, and he wanted. So he told Pete. Pete said something. He told Jose Estrada. Jose said something. I don't know. You better talk to Johnny because the area where he's at, they got the best. So he comes over and he said, "Papa, please, can you bring me a couple of Buzacs?" I said, "Coño, I don't carry that shit, but in those days you carry something, you get stopped by the trooper, maybe something, and you get in trouble. So I'm taking a little cheese and, but then fuck it, he's my boy, you know what I mean? I'm gonna take a cheese and." So I got 2 Buzacs or 3 Buzacs of that shit. They're very cheap, it's like $12 a piece. But we go to Redding. He's in the back in the crystal room with Vince and all the big boys and Bruno. They had the steak, they had everything, and all the other jabronis running around having some pizza or something. We're all running around. We come to the hotel and we're walking around. So all of a sudden, I don't know, it's 12 o'clock or something because the crystal room stays open for Vince. And they all went there. I never been there in my life. So what happens now is that he must have been worrying that I'm not going to be around. I'm not going to get him the stuff. And I'm running around. I'm not doing anything. All of a sudden, I'm in the lobby. He probably scooped out of there early enough to look for me. Sure enough, he was lucky. I'm walking in the lobby. He's coming in the lobby. He goes, "Papa." And I said, "Yes, listen, I'm looking for you because Vince says, if you see Johnny, tell him I want to see him." So now he has a real excuse to run down to the lobby and look for me. Two excuses. One to tell me the message, and the other one that he needs to see me his oak, So what happens now is that I said, "Papa, you're playing games with me, right? You want you ain't gonna get shit because now you're joking with me, right? Vincent want to see what? I don't believe Vincent wants to see me. For what? Oh, what does he want? I'm gonna be nice now." So what happened is he goes, "No, no, 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 no. This is real. They were talking about something, and he wants to see you. If he told me if I see you anywhere to tell you to come over and see him." So I said, "Okay." I give him the shoes and he goes up to the 4th floor. I walk in. When I walk in, everybody, "Hey, hey, the new Sheik. I go, "What the hell's going on?" Vince says, "Johnny, I wanted to mention, did you like to go to LA and be the new Sheik?" I said, "Hey, why not? But if the Mizon is not there, I'm not staying." And you know how I am. I'm very rude with that. If no Mizon, I told Vince I'm coming back 2 weeks notice, and I'm leaving. That's the whole test all those years, right? Couple of weeks notice. You don't want to obey. Maybe you want to be rude. But anyway, here I go again, Jabaruk, all the way to California, and I'm going to do the big one. And now I'm going to be the winner of the 22-man Battle Royale. And I went there to the Flamingo West Hotel and Santa Monica, and I walk in the. I wear one of those Turkish hats with the thing hanging. One of those things that look like you're in the jungle with the 4 pockets, velveteen blue. I work in the lobby, everything's okay. So it's an hotel. All the boys, hang out there, and I'm set up on the 3rd floor. I'm all by myself. There ain't nobody around, and I go to the 3rd floor. And I stay in my room. I call home to my wife. I tell her everything's fine. I'm here, la la la, and I hang out. I went out to eat something by myself, and I came back the next morning about 9:30 or so. I walk out I walk out for the elevator, and the elevator is outside of the building. It's not inside. As I'm working outside of the building, there's another character walking from the I'm in 317. He's on 315. This guy is walking from the one side in, and I'm walking from the other side in. We're both going to the elevator. And he looked at me and goes, "Hey, amigo." And I said, "Coño, all right." Now look, I said, he's got to be one of the boys. It's Roddy Piper.
Huh.
Now we go inside inside the thing, and it's pretty late. It's not no more morning time. I think it was close to. It's pretty late. It wasn't early, and I go, "Amigo, what's up?" And then, "Oh, you Johnny Rodz." I'm Roddy Piper. I wouldn't, but you know how it is. Now we go in the elevator. We go down to the first floor, and I said, "Amigo, I don't know nothing around here. We're gonna breakfast, lunch, or what the heck?" He goes, "I'm going for Sloppy Joe." You know what Sloppy Joe is, right? That's a big hamburger with chili on top, the big French fries, one soda, $5.99, and it's a big hamburger, and that's the real Sloppy Joe in California. So he's going for that, and we got to walk about freaking 6 blocks. He goes, "Oh, we'll go for Sloppy Joe." So we go Sloppy Joe because I met him for the first time. I want to be a nice guy. I pay for it. So now we become pretty a Sloppy Joe together because he's the only one in the building. And I have a lot of stories with him too. So we started, and then there I am as Jabaruk, and I won the thing. I got over like $1 million. I mean, it was good, but I made a price. I wanted a price of money, and they promised me. Vince says yes. Vince said, I said, if they don't give it to me, I'm coming back, Vince, and I'm going to just call me 2 or 3 weeks. Well, I did it, but they kept playing with it. They kept playing with it right from the beginning. I said, guys, I'm going to give you a warning. If I don't get him, I'm leaving. But then I wind up going to San Francisco, and the Gary helped me, the promoter there, Roy Shire.
Roy Shire, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Pa. He's a little guy. You know him very well, right? So
Right.
I'm new. I go in there, I'm in the restaurant, he comes over and he looks at me, shakes my hand and says, "I hear a lot about you. Hey, something about this and that. I want to see you. You're with my boy here. I want to check you out." I said, "Okay." He said, "So what's up?" He said, "I want a good match, about 15 minutes. I did that to Slibbin and the Sabbath and the Sibbin and the Sioux, and he gave me an S bump, and we went home and came upstairs. He looked at me and he goes, "Not bad, kid, not bad." He walked away. I said, "All right, I hope the money's good."
Yeah.
Well, that was only the first time that I made a little more than normally what I wanted, because it was $1,000, transportation, hotel, excuse me, and everything was good. But I met Mr. Fuji for the first time.
Yeah. And Johnny, before we get into Fuji, and we really want to cover Fuji, we want to get back to Piper in LA. Now, they had this battle roll. Let me set the scene here. Their battle roll is kind of like the Royal Rumble. They have it once a year. Usually that guy that wins that battle roll, he's the star until the next year, until the next battle roll. But
well, when you win the battle,
you left like 2 weeks later because the money wasn't right. That was the
when
whole
you win
reason.
when you win that battle royale, you're like an international champion of all over, because
You're the top guy. You're the top
every promoter, I guess in the industry, but whatever they are, they want to get that guy in one main event trip, or 2 or 3, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or a month. Every promoter likes to use him because he's all over, mentioned that he is the kingpin. So the promoters could draw with that guy. My first trip with money with that was San Francisco. After that, I told him, if you keep messing with my money, I'm going to go home. I'm telling you. And they kept telling me, "No, we're going to do this and that." First of all, before that, Roddy Piper was a babyface. Roddy Piper wasn't not making the money that he was supposed to make. Roddy Piper was okay, but he was just a worker with the Mexicans. Okay, so what happened was, I work. They said they were going to give me a manager or a girl, to walk in and throw smoke or something. They didn't have that. I was all by myself. I like Roddy Piper. He was over with the flute. And me thinking about the Arabs and the English walking there with the flute, it came into my head, and I said, Roddy, why don't we go to the office and tell them, why can't you switch over and be my manager with the flute to be great? And you're gonna get hit for being a twister, and I need him. He's great with the mic. And I caught on right away. I said, this guy, I could use him, boy. But what happened is, I said it. We got early. We went to the office. We talked to them. But you're a baby face. We're going to get you a girl in there. And okay, first week, nothing. Second week, the same shit. We went again. They told us no. About the third week, they told us, can you be down by 10 o'clock in the morning? Come to the office. Now we want to go to the office. We don't sound too good because we think it's something's trouble or something. We go to the office and they say, we got a good idea. Remember the cigarette the guy said, rather switch than fight?
Right.
The Winston cigarette?
Winston.
Yeah, the cowboy with the, said, rather switch than fight with the black guy. So they saw that and they said to Roddy, TV, you're going to go to Rodz, no more than 3 minutes. He's going to kick the shit out of you. You grab the mic and you said, I am quitting this. I'm going to join this guy. I'd rather switch than fight. So they told us that was their idea, not my idea, not Roddy's idea. And me and Roddy said, oh, wow, that's a great idea. You know Roddy, you know how he performs. He's right. He's an actor in the sense of funny. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah, we'll do that. But sure enough, I went in there, I kicked the shit out of him. He switched. From there on, him and I are hot as a firecracker. Actually, we even got shot at in Bakersfield or Lancaster, one of those towns, the old day with a lot of Mexicans, and bing, bang, they were hit in the woods, and we were hot. The only thing is, the money wasn't there for me. You understand? Right. So I decided to make it a trip to go home. I told him, I went to San Diego, payday. My money wasn't there. I took my boots off. I was supposed to work my last match with John Torres. Remember John Torres?
Right,
and he was there.
John and Chris,
yeah, they did that German thing where you do one, you do two, and the third one, you're going to be the winner, but you're working with a guy. So John Torres was the last guy, and I started taking my boots off because my check wasn't there. It was not the money I wanted. I'm tired. They got scared, but then I still, I obey. I helped. So I did the match with John, and they put John over because I was leaving. I told them, my boots are off, I'm gone. They didn't believe it, but I took off. It's not a nice thing to do, but you also have to remember, I'm in New York. Right. I got a family. They playing games, and you cannot live like that. That cost me my divorce.
Okay, so that was Piper's. That was Piper's first.
That was Piper's newborn.
Wow!
I'll tell you what.
So you left there
before we go any further. Maybe a month, that whole month or a month before, Piper was so pissed off because of the money and shit that he wanted to go back to Canada and drive a truck and forget about wrestling because he wasn't getting. So I said, brother, stay with me, listen. And somehow I always bless myself and bless him that I think because of that, Piper made it to the end.
Yeah. And Piper always spoke very highly of you. Every conversation, yeah.
Piper is, we have so many freaking laughs, you know him. We have so many laughs and so many bullshit that's unbelievable. Even though he's a messy fucking guy in his hotel room.
Was he a heat seeker back in those days too? In those very beginning days, was he?
If he was what?
A heat seeker, had heat all the time.
No. Piper, I remember Piper being just a happy guy, always laughing. Piper, I don't know. There's nothing I can say about him. He probably kept it to himself. I don't know, but I had so much fun with him. Forget it. We laughed so much, so we didn't even remember the business. We just enjoy the time. And then York was there too.
Who was
Jay
the
York,
booker there? What was Gene LaBelle in the office there at the Coliseum? Who was
Gene LaBelle was there. Tomas, there was two bookers. At first it was one, and then there was another.
Was Garibaldi?
Garibaldi, yes. It was one and then two. And then by the time I left, there was the second one. But Gene LaBelle and they were all there. That was the last of the Mohican for that territory.
For that run, yeah. That had to be.
I was there for the last of the Mohican, like they say.
Wow. So there you went up for Roy up in San Francisco, and you got a wonderful payoff to begin with. Then what happened? It just started being the wrestling business again, right?
Yeah, and that night that I got that. First of all, I told you I got everything. He gave me. They kept saying for years and years, Roy Charlie is the best paid man promoter around, blah, 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 blah. I kept saying to myself, boy, I hope one day I go over there and get a payday. Well, I finally got my dream. I went there and he told me, blah, 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 and he gave me an envelope. It's $1,000. I got transportation, a hotel room. I never used the hotel room because I got to tell you, if you want me to, that night, my back was, I don't know if I took a bump or I had air in my ribs. And every time I turned, I was, stiff. So I met Mr. Fuji for the first time. And so I was talking about my back, and he goes, brother, I got the man, he could fix your back. So he introduced me to Snooker. So Snooker comes along with a little.
You were a good hand, man.
Guys, gotta wait for this one. So they laid me in the floor and on the bench, and he had great massaging hands. I do. My father did too. I'm good with my hands. I can massage your whole body, and I feel good. Actually, I'm famous in the house when people have headache and stuff like. I could take it away like that. But here's what happened. He got me in the back and he fixed me up a little bit. And this is before my match. And I felt like $1 million when they finished that. Snooker fixed me up real good. And then Mr. Fuji said, brother, I told you so, right, brother? Hey, we're going to have fun tonight, brother. I said, oh, shit. I wonder what he's talking about. Because I never, So now we done. And when everything is done and we're going to get out of there, the brother, Mr. Fuji, said, brother, you got a hotel room. I take you back because you don't need taxi. I said, okay, brother. He had a brand new Eldorado red convertible, beautiful. And he says, brother, we go to I'm gonna see my friend sing Tiny Bubbles. Remember the guy sing Tiny Bubble?
Tiny Tim.
Thank you, Tiny Bubbles. Okay. So now he
said, no, it wasn't Tiny Tim. Who the hell was it?
No, I know.
Dean Ho.
I just mentioned Tiny Bubbles, so at least you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Dean Ho. He was friends with Mr. Fuji, I guess so, and he was singing at this club that night. And Mr. Fuji was invited by then, I guess. And he said, brother, you go with me. Brother, take care of you. I said, oh, boy. And I don't know him from Adam, but he's been beautiful with me. He fixed my back. Then he's got this beautiful car. We go to this beautiful club, but the entrance is like all round, like that. The big doors for entrance. Then they got the front and the second, and they got a little palm tree with a big vase on it. And then you go through those doors, and then the guys are in there. Not the guys, the bouncers and all that. But the front door is really empty. We go in there and we saw the man, and we got whacked out, and now it's, I think, close to 4 o'clock in the morning. We're leaving, and Mr. Fuji walks out of the one door, walks out of the second. Practically everybody's out of there, and he goes, brother, I got pee. I said, brother, you passed the bathroom, it's all the way in the back. I got pee. Fuck that shit. He pulled it out. And you know, I told you the palm tree thing. And he said, I water the flower. He watered the flower. Now, I'm shitting green because I said, fuck, we're going to get killed over here. Well, he watered the flower. And then he finished. We went out to the car. We went, he took me back to his place. I never saw the room in my life. I don't even know what it looks like because I went right to the town. So that was the meeting of Mr. Fuji and myself and Snuka. That's the first time I met those guys. And that was my first big shot in LA that I got a payday. That's it. After that, I came home. I came home. I didn't last no more. It was like by then it was 77, and Vince was pissed with me because he said you didn't call me. I said, Vince, I'm sorry. Either you give me work or you tell me no. Oh, you got to give me some time. So I said, okay. And then Vince was pretty nice with me. The old man was pretty nice with me.
You developed a fantastic friendship with Vince Senior.
Yes. We didn't have no problem. I wasn't a superstar with him. He didn't make me a ton of money, but I always worked. And he even gave me a check for when my other daughter was born. So I can't say that he was bad with me. We had different relations. The thing is, I came back home and he said, blah, 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 blah. And then I was at the end of 76, by the beginning of 77, he said, Johnny, I need for you to go to LA again and fix the bridge for me. So I wound up going back for 2 weeks. Right when I left there, and I'm gonna tell you this one, I hope you guys got time. Because when I got there the first time with Roddy Piper, he had a little Chevrolet Vega, the little one, the little Mickey Mouse car, old car. He ride around with that, him and Jay York, and he was there in the beginning. Right, I'm going to go back to the beginning real quick and tell you the first ride that I was going to ride with him, I was going to do TV. And he says, the car's downstairs, brother. I meet you downstairs. We go right under the hotel, the open parking spot. I go in there, and he sits on the driver's side. I open the door, and I sit on the right side. So I sit down, and they smell like freaking rotten. What a rotten smell. I go, what the heck is that smell? He's grinning, and got a smile on his face. I said, brother, you farted? He goes, no, I think I know what that is. Oh shit, what is it? You know the little milk, containers of milk, the small ones in those days.
Yeah,
you know, they give you in school and shit like that, but you buy them anyway. Jay York, maybe a week that week, they get high. And then they get the food, and he got the milk. He had 2 containers. He drank one, he put the other one on the floor, went under the seat because they hide it. He forgot all about it. That thing must have been there a freaking week. You know what happened when milk gets rotted and dry?
Oh, awful.
No, you get maggots.
You get maggots.
They go around like this, little things. 100 of them. I got out of the car, opened the door. I looked under there. The container was there, was already busted. And stupid me, I just moved it a little bit. Ow! I want to throw up. They were all, I got goose pimples right now. They were all crawling around. I said, ah, damn it. And he's laughing. I said, brother, this is impossible. I cannot sit there. So the ladies, all the, they wash clothes and with the washing machine in the back, they do all the service. Especially the Spanish, I said, mira, oye, tiene ammonia, Clorox, tiene toalla, you got paper, newspaper in Spanish. And they said, oh, sí, I think, like that. I took ammonia, Clorox, newspapers, and I take the newspaper and you wet it real heavy with ammonia, and you kind of grab it real quick and roll it real quick and take it out, and then you pour the ammonia. Ammonia kills them right away. It took me a half an hour. I want to make sure there wasn't not one that's going to crawl up my leg. Now that freaking guy is sitting there. He opened the doors and he's cracking up. He didn't help. I did it all by myself. And then we're on a trip. We're on a trip to Bakersfield, I think. Now we go to Bakersfield. That's number one. We go to Bakersfield. We're on the way. We're on the way back over the Muhammad Desert, up in the hills. When we left, it was 75 degrees. When we got the weather was beautiful. On the way back, it was a blizzard of snow. Wow. You know that, right?
Right. No.
It snows over the hill, whatever the heck it is.
Mountain there,
yeah. So I'm like a dummy. I said, I'm a Mark. I said, what the heck? What happened? Where were we? We were back in the Twilight Zone. He goes, no, over here. Sometimes it happens, brother. I said, holy shit. Now remember I told you, he's got this car. The one side, I don't know him, doctor. The one side has got a wiper. The other one has a wiper, but it moves very slow. And it stays here and it goes but the other one is going like this. This one is going there. And if you take this one and move it, the other one moves faster. So because the snow has to help the other one, I would go forward, take the wiper and move it so it can move faster. But what happened is that's good. But now my hand is frozen, so I take it in. Then he has to move over and he has to do it while he's driving. I said, shit. So we're doing that until we finally got over the freaking blizzard, whatever the heck it was. But while he was doing that, before he was doing that, he had an earache. His ear was killing him. I don't know what happened, but it was killing him. But with the wind and the wind, it was killing him more. By the time we got to Santa Monica, he was going cuckoo. So I said, do you have, vitamin E capsule? He goes, I happen to have one. He says, do you have a spoon in your room? Yeah, I have. I said, do me a favor. I'm going to help you. Get me a couple of capsules. Get the matches. Give me the spoon. He goes, what the fuck are you going to do? Get high? You see what his mind is like?
Yeah.
What are we going to do? Get high? I said, no.
Thought you were going to cook some up.
I want to help your ears. He said, what? With vitamin E the oil? I said, yes. I know that, man. My mother used to do it. Yeah. So now you take it, you clip it, you put it on the spoon. You take a match, light it up, nice, heat it up, and then you let it cool. You take a Q-tip, you put it in there. You take cotton, you put it in there, and leave it alone. The next day he got up. He didn't even mention that he was good. He just got up and hey, we're gonna go have lunch. It fixed him up real good. That was the first trip up to Bakersfield.
Yeah, those old wrestlers doctor, the cures. We had cures for everything back in those days, and the wrestlers had to take care of themselves, John. There were no assigned commissioned doctors or anything like that. Everybody in the dressing room always had a cure for something, right, Johnny?
That's a mouthful. Everybody knows something. 222s from Canada. Yeah. Remember them?
Yeah.
You go to Canada. You go to Canada. Everybody's got a $50 bill. Brother, can you give me about 25? Because the 222, you take 2 of those pills and it kills the pain. You can't get them here in the state. They only come from Canada. So that's part of the life of the old timers. Everybody took care of everybody else, and I mean, I don't know. We're missing it, right, Papa?
We miss a lot now because of that, but now fortunately, they have proper medical care there, but none of us ever croaked on something we did, I mean, as far as dressing room doctors, I mean, and you usually walked out of there feeling better, but we had methods, and we always had that locker room doctor.
Yes, the doctors were great. Everybody has a secret. Somebody has something that was good. We look around and everybody's looking at you because they want it.
Yeah. Well, what was great, you had a United Nations there basically. So people from all the different worlds, everybody has their own different kind of cures, for different.
Exactly. It's That's the time, and the most beautiful time. I want to tell you something. I don't know. It goes back so far. You know Phil Sacco, right? Remember Phil
Sacco,
Sacco?
yeah. I
Okay,
remember,
he was the promoter for partners with Vince in Baltimore, the Maryland, Virginia. He did a little bit there was Vince and him, but mostly he was the one in charge of it. So one day we have a trip from New York City. Miguel Perez with his Volkswagen, brand new Volkswagen. Mike Cicluna, Pete Sanchez, and Johnny Rodz. Now it's four of us. Four. I wasn't, it was pretty much. Peter's not a little guy, and I was okay. And Mike is a big boy, and Miguel was okay. And we were all in the Volkswagen. The old Volkswagens are okay. We started in New York. He was on 135th Street in the Bronx, and he comes down to Manhattan to the Holland Hotel. He pick up Cicluna, me, and Pete Sanchez. We're all going to Virginia, all the way from New York, past Boston, all the way in the beginning of Virginia for Phil Sacco. That's a long trip, Papa.
yeah.
We started. Nice way. We started. I don't know. We make it. When we got there, it's an outside show for the fire department. But what happened was, before we got there, they mentioned there might be rain. By the time we got close to the town, we see that the windows are having a little freezies. You could see we're getting some little rain. Now, we got into the dressing room, there is a little rain. So Phil Sacco, who's a little guy, running around with a double-breasted suit and everything, never take his hat off. He's very, very upset. But he's looking to take that chance to run the show outside. It's an outside show. So it's not going to happen. But he's trying. But he comes to the dressing room real quick, and you gotta get this one real good. I mean, I'm not gonna make fun of the man. I think he's dead, but but what happens is, not talking about Phil, we're talking about somebody else pretty soon. So he walks in the dressing room and he says hello to everybody. How you doing, Mike? How you doing, Johnny? Hi, Pete. Hey, hello, man. And then he goes, how you doing, Thomas? You know the rooster? He's got the cartoon rooster. They got the little baby, and he goes, I say, meet my boy. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Foghorn Leghorn.
You know the cartoon. What's his name?
It's Foghorn Leghorn.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Good, Johnny. I know what you did as a kid, John.
You know how he talks, like the
Yeah.
I say like the South stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that
Yes.
little one
Now,
running
what-
around, that little one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
put this together. Art Sailor Thomas. You remember him?
Big Art Sailor, yeah. Big.
The night that Bruno took the belt, Art Sailor Thomas was there. That's the first time ever that I met Art Sailor Thomas. One of the nicest black gentlemen that I ever talked to. Okay, you ever met him?
Right, yeah, I'm friends with him now.
Beautiful, thank you. I don't know, I don't know how you feel how he was, but he was a very simple.
Oh, he was a great guy. One of the nicest guys, like you say, around. Yeah.
And he talked. I say, how you doing, Johnny Rodz? Okay, I say, how's everything, Johnny Rodz? That's how he said to me. But now here's what happened. Now the funny part about it is that because there's not going to be no show, and we had a feeling it wasn't. And we were already pissed off because it's not going to happen. They decided to play a joke on Phil with Al Sailor Thomas. And so Al Sailor Thomas agreed a little bit because he wasn't that type of character. You know how he was, very simple, right?
Yeah,
So
a
we say,
serious guy.
Sailor, let's play a joke. You play dumb, and we're going to play with Phil, okay? I don't know if it was a big chance to take, but we took it. So we told Sailor, when he comes in and he talks to you, just that's real dumb, like you don't know You don't know nothing about put over or this time or you get over, some kind of shit like that. We played it so good that it worked perfect. So now, now Phil walks in and double breasts the suit with his little pant, and he looks at it and he goes, "How are you doing, guys? How's everything? How you guys doing? Okay, how you doing, Johnny? Hey, Mike, how's that? How you doing? Hey, Sailor, what's up? Listen, Sailor, you're on. If we could get this done, you're second with Michael, and then you cover him, okay? You cover him." So Sailor goes, now we were all set to do this. Sailor said, okay, Mr. Field. So he goes, okay, all right, you guys, maybe we could get done. Let's see, but it might not happen, but okay. So he's starting to get it ready. He walks away to the door, and now we got his set. He goes, Mr. Field? Mr. Field, sir, what do I cover him with? Wait a minute. Now, wait a minute. He goes, what do you mean? What are you covering? Cover him with a fucking blanket, you fool. So he goes, okay, Mr. Field. You don't get angry. So he walks out of the door almost. He goes, Mr. Field? What? I got to work. Where do I get the blanket at? Where do you get the blanket at? He was burning. It is running. Everybody was crawling all over the place because he didn't. Phil didn't understand nothing. We just playing with him. He said, "Where do I get the blanket at?" Those days, if you put them together, and we had nothing else to do but to enjoy a little baby stuff. That grown up guys had nothing else to do.
Johnny, how did you end up with getting your club in Gleason's gym? How did you end up starting the club and training and all that?
But what happens with that is that I always had I started in the city in Manhattan, the Lower East Side, where at the YMCA, not the YMCA, the boys club, they had a boys club on Avenue 8 and the East Side and 4th Street or 5th Street. For some reason, they let it run down. A couple of Puerto Rican guys had a ring in there, and they just jumped around. They made believe they were wrestling, and I knew them from the neighborhood. And I talked to the director of the place they paid $1.50 a year for the kids to be go inside and play, and it was really ranchy. It was all down and out. And I said to the director, I said, listen, I could bring in a little entertainment here by having guys come in and train. I've been pro. I could try to train some guys, bring a couple of dollars to doing that. I can make a couple of dollars. I had the guys have with the rings. They were lucky to do it with me. So I started like that, but then it was so down and out that you can't succeed. Then I tried again, and I tried again, and didn't work. And then when I moved away from there and I went to Brooklyn way after, I went to a place where the guy had a boxing, a place where he used to do boxing a couple of times a week. And he was hanging around at Gleason's gym. A guy named Manny, he used to hang around at Gleason's gym, training people. But I guess because he probably could not pay the bills, so he probably was thrown out. So he wound up at this place that there was a building where the guy gave him the whole bottom of the building for him to put a ring and that. So I knew him, and I decided, let's see if I could make something out of it. So I went in there, fixed up the ring. I started it. It was okay. And then he wasn't paying the guy who owned the building the rent that he was supposed to pay, but yet all my guys were paying $25 a month, and he was pocketing it, and he wasn't paying the rent. So what happened was that somehow the guy sold the place to Chinese people that wanted to do the washing machine stuff, So machines there. So we winds up with another place a little further in Brooklyn. He says, I need money to pay the rent. It's like $500 a month. We need $1,500 total. Maybe you could lend it to me. So I make out a check. I gave it to him. Supposed to give it back to me in a few weeks or so, a month. I never got it back in time. And I'm in there, and we're doing the same thing. What happens now is that it will last. He says that the landlord gave him a month free rent so he could fix up the place and clean it up because the place was big. It was a nice place, clothes and everything. But what happened is that we cannot I'm doing my thing. I don't know what he's doing because I only did Monday and Tuesday. The rest of the week, I have no idea what he's doing, boxing, playing games. But then one week he decided to, close to almost 2 months, decided to go to Puerto Rico and do something in a week and coming back. One Monday, I'm opening the door and downstairs, and some guy walks in and say, "Hey, where's your brother? The landlord wants the rent." I look and say, "What brother are you talking about? And where's Manny, your brother?" I say, "He's not my brother. I work for him." But, well, the landlord said he didn't get his rent. I said, "Well, okay, when he comes, I'll talk to him." I didn't say nothing. According to him, he already had $1,000 front money, another $500. That's 1,500. According to everything, he's supposed to need that money, but he never gave it to the landlord. He never did nothing. He was taking, I don't know what he was doing. So I said, okay. That same week, when he comes back on the weekend, by Saturday, I get a call from Gleason's Inn from Ira Becker, which is Bruce Silverglade's partner. But Ira and Bruce Silverglade, I knew them way before that time. I knew them when I was in the jewelry business on the city. And at one time, they moved them to 33rd Street there when they have Gleason Gym near the garden. I knew them then, and I knew them when they were in the Bronx. And then I knew them when they were in Brooklyn again on the other side. So they knew me. So Rebecca found out that the guy, Manny, my friend, was stealing boxing customers from their gym because he used to be there and bring them over to the other place, and they were pissed. So when they found out, how the heck is he making it? So they found out it was with him. So he said, they called me and said, "Johnny, why don't you come over here and bring your club over there, and we give you the whole arena with a ring in it and everything." I said, "That's a great idea." I said, so when the guy come back, I said, bingo, he got a big surprise. I came back to the arena. They gave me the whole arena. I was doing Monday and Tuesday, 2 days a week. That's it, from 2 to 8. So what happens now is that when the guy come, I said, goodbye. I want my money real quick. Not to be a tough guy, I said, but I don't get my money in within a week, I'm going to skin you all life. But his brother, who was a nice guy, says, "Johnny, don't even bother with him. I'll give you the money. I'll get it from him." So I went and by my business. I went to Gleason's Gym to the arena. I started the more of organized the club. But the only thing is, from $25 that the guys pay at the other place, over here they're paying 40. The only guy that complained was Taz. Taz says, "What the heck? Well, we got to pay all this money." And all the big boys said, "Shut up, you midget. Pay it up, everybody." So he was the only one that complained. We were there for 2 days a week. The arena was empty. They only did boxing every month and a half, and they're paying $12,000 a month. They have the gym next block, which is another $12,000, $24,000 every month. Paying, and the arena wasn't not that hot with the boxing. It was right under the Brooklyn Bridge. But when I came in with the boys and all that, that helped them. I did some shows every 3 months or something like that, a Mickey Mouse show where, even Bam Bam Bigelow and working there with us, I did a little bit. What happens there is that before we even got out of there, they decided to do dancing at the weekend, with the big boys. You know what the big boys are, right? So they decided to join them. They fixed the floor in the bottom. They made a bar. They fixed the toilet. I told Bruce and the partner, I said, I know the big boys. If they don't make no money, they're going to be out of here soon. But Bruce's partner, who's knew it all, says, kid, I know. I know what I'm doing. I said, okay, I know the big boys. If they don't make no money with the dancing club, they're out of there. Sure enough, no more than half a year, they were out of there. That was the end of that arena. They must have had 2,000 chairs, and they were all over the place. So what happens now is that I went into the gym, and I got my ring in there, and I got free rent, never paid a penny in rent at Gleason's gym for 37 years now.
Wow.
Wow.
I've been there. Yep, they gave me free rent. All they want is my members to pay the gym dues. We started at 40, it got to 80. Coronavirus came with 7 months to close. After the 7 month, he lost $240,000 in 7 months. I lost about 12, 15, but we were closed for that long. We're in a new floor, on the first floor at Gleason's gym now. It's packed. Like I said, I don't pay a penny there. I got free rent all this time. So what I did, I don't have a wrestling school. I got the World Unpredictable Club of Pro Wrestling. I don't believe in wrestling school. I'm sorry, guys, but I don't believe in wrestling school, because when I was doing it in the beginning, I told you it was all about club members only. And then today I have members only. I charge them $3,000 for them to join me. I don't pay nothing in the gym, but they come in, they join me. I put the money up, they give it back to me. Now we have a lifetime membership. So if the gym gives me a lifetime rent free, well, then I give it to them for them to go back. Whoever wants it, fine, got it. Whoever walks away, walks away. They come back if they're good people. If they're not good people, I can still get in the ring and whip them some, okay? All I know is that's the way I did it. And quite a few characters made it out of there, whether they went to the big show or not. And the first member that I gave, that I got out of there that made it for a while with Vince was Special Delivery Jones.
SD Jones, yeah.
Yeah, SD Jones was in the Bronx with some club when I was. The guys in the Bronx said, Johnny, can you help us out in a little match? And come on, we want to draw a little. So I went. I played the Arab gimmick, so this way they didn't know it was me. Because in those days, you start doing stuff on the outside, the office gets mad. And they say, who you want to work with? I looked at 5 guys. I said, how about the black fellow over there? He said, he's new. He don't know nothing. Well, the Puerto Rican guys want to go work with me because they want to show off. So I said, no, I'm taking him. So I worked with him. Then he got all interest. He says, maybe you could help me out, get in. Well, I had a little basement thing where I used to do the deadlift, and I had the mats on the floor. And the building when my first son was born, which is 58 years ago, I took him down, and he says, I wanted you to help me. I said, well, I'll tell you what, it's $250 a month for that basement with the weights and everything, because the super gave it to this guy. The guy didn't pay the rent, so he gave it to me. He says, you pay the rent. So if I take guys in there for charging for weightlifting and all that, I could get the money. So it was good for me. I live on the second floor. I took him to the basement, and I showed him maybe 2 months what I said to SD. You paid 2 months, $250. That's $500, and then I'll help you. Well, I was almost at the end of 2 months. Gorilla Monsoon was promoting some show in Trenton, New Jersey, and he needed 2 guys. He needed somebody to work. He was short, so he knew. I always got along with Gino, and Gino knew that I was playing games with the guy. He said, Johnny, maybe you could get some guys. I want to try. But then SD Jones was there, so I figured this would be the best best time for him because it is what it is. Time comes. So I said, yeah, I'm gonna bring you a guy. So me, him, and Pedro Morales, all three of us, got in Pedro's car. We went to Trenton, New Jersey, and
You had Pedro training there at the time also?
Pedro was champion then.
Okay.
Here's Gino. Here's Gino. I'm gonna show you Gino right now. So Gino is Gino's a desperate fellow. He was very, you know. So I walk in with the SD Joan, and Gino has Coca-Cola bottles he had for glasses. You know, he can see from here to there. If he didn't go, the only way he reads is like this. See, so I walk in. Gino was a comedian. He's a hell of a guy. And so Gino said, Johnny, did you get me the guy? I walk in. Yeah, here he is. And then SD was about 6'2", 6'3", 245 pounds. And he looked good. He didn't know shit. I showed him everything that he had to do because in the beginning he didn't know nothing. So what happened is I said, well, here it is. He goes, oh, okay. He started saying, what's your name? Ephraim Conrad. He said, what? Ephraim Conrad. What the heck kind of wrestling name is that? I said, Gino, that's his name. Oh, you wanted a guy. I bring it to you, special delivery. Here he is. He goes, special delivery, Joan, and you're working 20-minute Broadway with him. I said, you son of a bitch. Now I have to work with him and 20-minute Broadway. Oh. And guess what? He was so freaking nervous. I said, you make a comeback, Dizzy Dole, you know, do a little waggle and wiggle and punch me around so we get great. He goes, okay. But he got nervous. He's going like this. He punched me right in the eye. I wound up with a black eye that night. That's Steve Jones beginning. And then he said, special delivery Jones, and you're working with him. That's how he got his name. And that was one of my, not one of my first, but one of my first guys that ever, he did pretty good. He ran around for quite a few years. So I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny, take us back to Gleason's gym there. You know, there's always a lot of boxers, always a lot of celebrities coming in there. And one of the biggest, greatest stories ever come out of there was who was it, John? Mitch Blood Green.
Mitch Blood Green and Mike Tyson.
All right. We had a funny bone there. Something happened.
Mitch Green and Tyson, everybody that has a name, whether it's Muhammad Ali, Green, Tyson, you name it, Red Bull, all those boxing people, all those famous names, all the way back, as much as you want to think, the Italian superstars who even make movies, all the way back, they're all in the wall of Bruce Silverglade's office. Their wall is from the bottom to the top. Whatever anybody you want, there's been in Gleason. Gleason's gym, is world famous Gleason's gym, has been around for 100 years. They have a punching, thing that you punch to. That thing is about 100 years old, and I moved it from the old place to the new place, and it took me and 5 guys to roll it over and put it there because it weighs about 500 pounds. It's one of those that the thing that you hit the you bounce around with the to work out.
Heavy bag.
Yeah, it's so old that nobody has one of those anymore. Everlast makes it, but they're very light. Gleason's gym, every Tom and Dick and Harry that had anything to do with boxing has been through Gleason's gym. They make movies in there, skits for everybody. Anybody right now? I'm training McConnelly Holtz. I don't know if you guys know. He's a movie star. I'm training McConnelly Holtz in my ring now. I got another month to go with him. I'm staying late at night to help him out. If you Google McConnelly Holtz, he's a star. He did a boxing thing a long time ago, but because he did that, he knew I was in Gleason's gym. Now, gentlemen, he's doing practice wrestling with me to do Fritz Bonaric new movie that's going to come out about a year from now about the drama of his son's dying and all that. He's doing Fritz Bonaric, and I'm training him for that.
Wow. So
at Gleason's gym right now, yes.
Were you there when Mike Tyson and Blood Green got into a little scuffle?
Yes, yes, I was there. Yeah,
so what happened?
Well, they break it up, and a lot of shit goes on, and they throw them out, and it's the way it is. One time, Miss Green started with another guy. They were down in the middle. That went down to the middle of the street. That happened first one, but then it happened. Tyson was there. He went to the old. Remember, I told you the arena. He was at the arena.
Did Tyson go looking for him?
Yeah, he comes looking for him at the gym, but the gym is a block away from the arena. Then he's walking over to the arena. Then the shit started. They wind up in the middle of the street, scuffling right in front of the gym, while a detective car was passing by, put the lights on, it kept going and let them fight. I was there that day, and I didn't get involved. They somehow the cops came after. You know how it is. They get away because who they are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that place there is the most famous place for movie parts of all kinds, everything else. Like I said, right now this gentleman wants to be Fritz Bonaric. Can you imagine, Gary and John, me trying to make this guy who looks like Fritz Bonaric, like the old man? Can you imagine me trying to make him do the claw and walk around like the Fritz did? I know what Fritz used to work like, but can you imagine? I got to train this guy for 2 months for him to learn how to do a little skit like that, which is that he only got another month to go. He's a nice guy, a real sweetheart of a guy.
How long of a training will he have? Totally.
This is it. I did 3.5 weeks with him now. He's got another.
So basically, 2 months you turn him into Fritz von Erck.
And I'm gonna make him. I'm gonna succeed because I'm not gonna say I can. I'm gonna make him look like he could do the stiff moves that well, hello, you know, like you know how the old timers work, you know. We didn't climb up there and did a triple somersault and landed on some guy or I don't know what. A few guys jumped around, but some guy did a cartwheel and that was fantastic. Today, I don't know, everybody's flying all over the place and I get dizzy. That was a little different. And then Fritz Bonaric was a German style. And this guy comes in and he's like this. I said, just drop your hands. You're only doing it when you're ready to do it. It's not making believe here. He's stiff like a board. So I'm trying to loosen him up so this way I can help him. He's a real good guy. He's gonna do it. He's already signed a contract, and the people that are making this movie, he says they got a lot of money. So what happens now is that it's already started. So they're gonna take about a year before they finish with this. All about the 4 sons that died, the whole drama, and a couple of skits in the ring with Fritz wrestling, and the only kid that's alive is Kevin Bonaric, right? That Jerry?
Right. We had him on the show earlier.
Okay. I hope you didn't mention my name.
No, it was before this training started.
Well, let me explain something to you. He came into New York. He came into New York very young, about, I would say maybe more. It's got to be 40 years ago. He's got to be in he's up there, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I worked with him in the garden when he was young, and they must have sent him in probably for a tryout. I don't know, Vince asked me, Johnny, can you do me a favor? Give me 15, 20 minutes with him, get him over somehow. Uh, he didn't say fuck yourself somehow, get him over somehow. I tried, but he was, I don't know, making comebacks at the wrong time, trying to go in the corner and jump out without saying anything, and who knows what he's doing. I mean, I'm not putting it down, but then he got pissed and he hit me in the head a couple of times. So I said to the referee, I guess I'm in for it. And the referee says, it's your boy, not mine. So now the thing is that I started I'm trying to Jerry, you know me, right?
Right.
You know that I did more G's up for everybody in this fucking business in New York than anybody.
All right.
And then if you come in with it, you're good or bad, I'm gonna try to help the business the way it is. Maybe I'm a sucker. Maybe I was a sucker for it. Maybe I'm not. But I spent a lot of years in that fucking thing. I tried, and he started to be rough. He smacked me in the chest like he wanted to do me in, because he got pissed about something. And then I said, well, I guess he wants to learn a lesson. So I don't know. All I know is that I know he knows how to wrestle from school, and so I pick him up, I put him on the floor to test him, and there he is. He's like a snake. He's ready to go. Well, if you watch the match, Johnny Rodz and Kevin Moneri wrestle, you could see that I grabbed the leg that he has behind. I said, you're going someplace, but you're leaving your leg behind. So if I snap it, he's not going nowhere, but I'm not going to hurt him. But that was the match. And then he did a stupid high spot finish, and we went home. By the time the announcer said, and the winner is, and he looked around, he was already back to the dressing room because he was. So that happened. That happens with him. That happened even with Mike Graham, because he was there too, the same way. See, Vince used to take those guys sometime in, and if they could pass go, they kept them for a while, because that's the way it was. I'm sorry, but that's the way it was. Right. He always gave different people from different area, especially from family, they always gave him a chance to see if they could come down to New York and hang out for a while. But then the body, Mr. Rodz, always wind up saying, can you get him over somehow, or fuck yourself somehow? Well, that's okay. What the heck? What do you want me to do?
Johnny, how did the name Mr. Unpredictable come about?
Okay, because when I don't know. I used to go in the ring and think, how many times can you work 3 hours of TV and go in there and do the same shit, and people get bored of you? So right. I decided that I go in the ring, and every time that I did 1 hour, because you go to Pennsylvania and they do 3 hours every 2 weeks. They do 3 hours. So you go in there and they put the thing in the wall. First of all, they used to put the paper in the wall at the beginning. And you go, they put one paper, they put all 3 of them, they're all set up. And you go and you look at them, first hour, I said, oh shit, great. I'm not working the other 2 hours. So, you're working for an hour, you get nice and diddy-do, you relax, you could even go home. Well, they did that in the beginning, but then they found out if they do that and they need something or something happened and they need a worker, then nobody there to help them. They're gone. So they decided to put only 1, not 3. And then now you look at it, you're not on the first one, then you got to sit there waiting for the second. Then you're not on the second one, then you got to sit there and wait. Maybe you're on the last one. Maybe you're on all 3 of them. And when you're on all 3 of them, you're just as pissed. You're just as pissed as you're on the last one, because you got to stay there and wait, because that's the way they did it. This happened for years and years and years that we did this, and I all I did is that no matter what, if I want it, I stay. If they want to give me something, maybe I'm lucky enough to give it, like the Java Rook thing. If they don't, and I want to be in the business like everybody else, you work. If the only way they're going to make you something, if you stay there a year and you go to Canada from New York, and you be a big shot in Canada, and then you can come back next time. Maybe that's how they raise you. Isn't that the facts, right, Jerry?
Right. Correct.
But then I didn't want to go nowhere. I went places, but only when Vince sent me. But if I stay in New York and I'm making, say, $700, $1,000, then I got to go to Canada to be on top, and I'm making 11 or 12. I think I'm a little stupid. Because I got to be away and change my life just to be in different territory to be put over. I don't know. I never thought that was a good idea.
You're
Johnny,
correct.
How can people now get hold of you if they want to come to your club, if they want to get trained by you, want to come to Gleason's gym? How do they get hold of you?
I'm out there. I have a website and World Unpredictable Wrestling. I have one guy that's one of my students. I mean, he's already he's about 46 or something. He was with me for a long time. His name, we call him Juanito, Juan Jeremy. And he's in charge of anybody calling or checking out. He's like gets all the information from me, puts it on. Then I got the numbers and everything. I call these people. I make appointments. I don't get. There's no information about. Oh, I want to know how much it is and this and that. La la la. I said, you want to know? You got to come down and sit with me, and I explain to you how the membership is done, and then the prices and all. When do you want to come? Well, how much is it? I said, but if I tell you how much it is, it doesn't make sense because I have to explain what kind of a training it is and how long it's going to take. And I have a club membership, and then you have to listen to in person. They have to come and sit in my office and listen. I do not believe in wrestling schools, gentlemen. I never was raised like that. Down from the beginning with all those old timers, we never did. It was always a club. And that's why we had one in New York, and it was 25 of us. I might be able to tell you the story before we finish what happened to that club, and I was the only one that made it. But this is the way I do it. So if you see my logo, in my shirt,
Awesome.
it says "World Unpredictable Wrestling." Mm. That's my own design. I designed it with a piece of pencil, and somebody designed it for me, and that's what goes around all over the place. World Unpredictable Wrestling, just like me.
Just like you.
So it's out there. You know, they want it. They Google the Johnny Rodz World Unpredictable Wrestling, and it pops up right away because wrestling schools, they have quite a few. But there's nobody's going to match me anyway. And nobody's going to beat me anyway. I train more characters than anybody around the globe.
Johnny, at 81 years old, do you still get in the ring? Do you still demonstrate, or what? How do you handle
I do go inside for the psychology. I go inside the ring and then let them know that I can still do Tai Chi, Jiu-Jitsu, because I told the guy, hit the rope, hit me. And before he gets there, I put my hand on his freaking face and take it down. And they stop and look at me and say, that's how easy you're a worker. You don't hurt nobody, but yet you make it look really, really good. Yeah. Remember one thing. We're supposed to make it look good. Right. Not hurt them, because if we're going to hurt each other, we won't be able to last a month in the business.
Right.
So when I go in the ring, I go for the psychology, for the timing, for the real McCoy, for let them feel that the vibes that I'm in there. I sit down on the edge of the ring. I used to go a lot when I was training Taz and all the other guys, and the Dudleys and Bill DeMott and Tommy Dreamer and those guys. I go in the ring.
I got to ask you, bringing up all these names, I got to ask you one name, Johnny, and you get a lot of heat for this name too. So you always loved heat. I've known you forever. You always loved the heat. Vince Russo. we'll leave with this story here.
Wow. Wait a minute, hold it. Why? Why am I going to get a lot of heat for Vince Russo?
Because he's the most liked guy in our business.
Well, what happened with Vince Russo? Wait a minute. What happened? Wow. I never thought you'd bring that up. Wait a
Johnny, you know
minute.
me.
Wait a minute. You know, you're pretty good at making heat, brother.
Yeah, hey, we're all entitled to a mistake.
No, here's what happened. Vince Russo, when I was not on the place we are now. We used to be on Front Street in Dumbo, Brooklyn, on the second floor. That was the biggest gym there. And now we moved to the next building on the first floor in the back, 130 Water Street in Dumbo, Brooklyn. That's the only entrance. It's the first floor. We wanted that place for 12 years back. We wanted it, and we could not get it because there was a bank there. And finally, Bruce, who has very good connection with the owner of Dumbo, guy who owns half of the buildings in Dumbo, which is one of the biggest tourist area in New York today. And I'm telling you now, that's going to be a monster. They're doing everything in there, all kinds of construction. The streets are being fixed, buildings are being torn down, put up. The ones that are old, 200 years old, they can't be touched, but they renew them. All kinds of restaurants, all kinds of, oh my God. The tourists from everywhere in the world are coming in there now. That's the biggest. And I'm glad that we're on the first floor. So what happens now, going back to the old gym, and Vince Russo, I'm in the back office, and Vince Russo walks in with one guy that did the, karate, judo, whatever the heck it is, and then one guy who's a bodybuilder. One guy was some kind of mixture, and the other guy was black. They come in, and I don't know nothing about Vince Russo, but he comes in and he tells me, I got two guys, I'm their manager, and I want you to train them. But I said to him, so if you're their manager for what? For pro wrestling? He goes, yes. I said, but how the heck are you going to be a manager for pro wrestling? What are you, who are you, and what do you know about pro wrestling being a manager? Because now I'm blank there, right? I'm blocked. I mean, what the heck? Now I'm dumb. I don't know. I'm a manager. So I know now this guy's a real mark. He's a manager. He says, I want to know how much the price is because I'm going to pay half and they pay the other half with me. And I got 25% on a contract with them. I said, really? I said, you want to sit down? And he brought the guys. One guy was like this, and the other guy was pretty, he was not bad with the martial art bullshit. What happened is, I said, do me a favor. Can those guys go out there and watch the guys train and sit around for half an hour? Can I talk to you? I talked to him, and I said, if you want to be their manager, that's your business. That's not my business. I don't care less. I don't care what you do with them. But I don't see how you could be their manager and how you're going to get them any kind of a work as a wrestling, because they don't. One is a martial artist, and the other one, I don't know, is a bodybuilder. I don't even think they were wrestling fans. And I said, I could feel I'm the best, and I could do it. But here's what happened. You have to be trained mentally that you are the manager. I don't see how you're going to make business with the wrestling office, whoever they are, about you being the manager. That's private against you guys. So coming in here and telling me about all that, I got to smite you up on that. Actually, you should join me and learn the game so you could help them as you go along. And they could join also, and all three of you join, and I teach you the business. I give you halfway price, and they have to pay that. He said, well, I'm paying that half for them, and they paying me back. They pay the other half. So that's between you guys. Well, I'm looking to make $6,000 from them, right? And then I'm looking to get another $1,500 from him because I'm going to be a nice guy, and he can join for manager. I don't know. It all started that way. It all really started that way. The way I kind of convinced him a little bit that way. Well, they did, but what happened is no more than not even 2 months. The other guys were all gone. I don't know where they went. He had problems with them. Whatever business they did, I couldn't care less. He went staying with me. Then he had somehow had Vito Lograsso. I had Vito Lograsso with me for a while, and then Demian Demento, the own guys were there, and somehow Vito and him became pals, and then they started to around. Matter of fact, he's the one that got Vito to go to WWE somehow, and then before you know, he was learning how to be a manager in the wrestling business, trying to do this and trying to do that with us. I couldn't care less what he's doing. And he went as far as he could. When I did shows, he was there playing stuff, Mickey Mouse stuff. And before you know, he was gone. He had some kind of video place in Long Island where he had a business. Vito was going back and forth with him. That's how they started. After that, the rest of Vito of Vince Russo, the rest was history in my part. Then the rest that I hear from there, he's in WWE. He's been everywhere.
Right.
That's Vince Russo. I don't know. He had some kind of heat with some people. I have no idea. I don't have no heat with him. They never bothered me. I know I'm a regular. I deal with everybody.
You have no heat with anybody, John. You're respected by
I can't.
everybody.
It is what it is, Papa. It is what it is, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you anything else. All I know that I even have videos when he was raw at the gym. I still got them.
Wow,
You know,
wow. Well, you
they're
got to
in
get
those-
them. You got to get them to John, and I would love to see those videos.
I have actually. I'm going to ask Juanito. We could. I still. They were in those big cassette things. They're not. Yeah. You have to get them out of there. We have the videos. I have videos with. Sheesh.
Do you have videos of all the guys that you trained, like Dudley's and?
Yeah, we like I said, they were in those things. I don't know if those things are glued together.
Yeah, the old video cassettes there. Yeah.
Yeah, you put them away, and you don't know what happens after you put them away. You don't have no idea when you put them in. I have that ones. I have the other one, the smaller one. I have the regular disc. I have them all. The chunks of that shit. But today, everything is so different, and then the machinery, the machines that you're going to put them in to show, they're not even around anymore. So I don't know what to tell you.
Johnny, this has been a really enlightening podcast for John and I. We've learned so much about you. We were so excited to get you on here, and this is the reason why, is because of these stories there. But we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for coming on and sharing these stories with us.
I talking to you guys. You and I were I don't know who's up or who's down. I'm ahead of you, right?
Yeah, you're a little ahead.
I got maybe one more year.
Oh, you got several years, but we won't go into.
Well, John, he's a baby, right?
Yeah, he's a baby. Yeah, he's a young one of the bunch. Yeah.
God bless him. God bless him. He came in a good era.
But you know what? He respects so many of the old timers. I mean, John's basically a historian too. He can tell you just about every guy that ever stepped in the square and circle there. So he's a student of the game, which is the reason I like him so much. He really is a student of the game and has so much respect for generations like ours and generations before. We're doing a best of show not long ago where we go back in the archives and get the old matches, as far back as we could possibly find them and review them. But yeah, he's knowledgeable of all that. But Johnny, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today.
Well, I thank you guys. I enjoyed it. You can have me back anytime you want. I mean, we didn't even go we only gonna win about 20% of what we're supposed to go through.
Yeah, yeah.
That means we got to do it again.
Yeah, we could do it anytime. Like I said, I only did 20%. We still got the rest to go.
Yeah, we got all those jabronis you trained, you know, the Dudleys.
That's right.
Well, let me put it this way. I think that somehow, some way, because of the turn of the time that I did, especially the Dudleys, from the time they did it was just 40 some odd years already to now, they're the biggest tag team that held so much. They're in the Hall of Fame. I don't know anybody else that has done anything that had guys like that to match all the work they're going from ECW to whatever they're doing today. It's I think that's a monster itself. And then so many of them, regardless how much they did or didn't do, they were always ready to touch. Even if they didn't make it to the big one, they still make it to the independent. They're running, whether it's here or there, they're running all over the place. I'm just happy to be around to still see them.